Hello, hello, hello. All right, welcome back. We're in end of August already. I can't believe this, but we're August 28th shooting this. Got a few big updates that I want to report you guys on, and a couple things I did this weekend that maybe you thought was cool. A couple books I read that I want to share with you. So, getting right into it, we have a few big updates over at like Mac Capital, some of my construction companies, kind of a product that I've been shooting for in storage that I want to share with you a little bit more. And then last but not least, I have an event that I'm trying to raise some money for that is this Thursday. It is a golf charity event that I always do, but you can also, you know what, you can throw $5 on Venmo. That goes to a big purpose, which is Back the Blue. We had an officer down in Fargo this year. Really big deal for us. We've raised money for the local, we'll just call it North Dakota law enforcement teams. Basically, we've had a couple down officers, and it's a big deal to us in our community. So, guys, if you want to donate, stay to the end. I'm going to share on how you can do that. And if you got any questions about what we're going to talk about today, about storage or I got a position I'm also hiring for that we're going to talk about. But first, before we get into those, I want to share a little bit about, who I am, what I do. Basically, we have a construction company that is where Mac Construction stands for, has been around forever. So this is our 13th year, so forever to me. But for 13 years, we've been doing Mac Construction. I've done everything from concrete to general contracting to you name it. I had to say yes to about everything in the beginning, just as you do as a construction company. But as I started to develop, I figured out that you have to start saying no to start making money and start focusing on one niche. So we started going into just concrete work, and then we also do general contracting work, which we just focus on development and third-party general contracting work. Like we're doing a school right now that's a $4 million build out. We have a storage facility going on in Fargo, North Dakota, that we're actually scaling this model across the United States, and we're going to need help doing that. So a little bit about construction, but and then also like through the times I've accumulated, 150 multifamily units. And this is just like in the last few years, guys. I didn't own all this stuff. I just got curious about real estate, because once you research what the wealthy are investing in, you will likely find that, lo and behold, it's real estate. So I'm a real estate guy. I'm also a construction guy. I'm an investor of many different things, but I love construction and I love real estate development. And just real estate investing in general. So that's what you're going to get from me. I share this, and why I share this is because I think it can change your life. If you get curious enough about it, it can change your life as well. And, or you can always just live with the mentality that I'm never going to have enough money to do this. Where I try to provide ways that, hey, not everyone has a lot of cash to invest, but you know what? You can learn creative financing ways that you don't need any money. You don't need any credit. You don't need anything. You just have to have the willpower to go and do this, and you have to put in the work and effort to do that, right? It's not as easy. I know talking with Ryan, it's like using your own money is the easiest way to invest. Well, when you use other people's money, you have to make them money, but it also makes you very wealthy along the way. So that's kind of why Mac Capital came to be. Basically, I own this $25 million a year construction company that I have a leadership team run. I started Mac Capital raising private money to do development projects. And then today, now I've owned over 150 multifamily units, and I own a couple of storage facilities, and I own some commercial product, which I'm standing in today. So you don't even need a lot of experience. You just need to find people with experience, find mentors. Like I always tell people, you want to be wherever you want to be, find a couple people, find someone 2 years in front of you. And you know what? Go and see if you can pay them. Maybe they're willing to mentor you for free. Depends how well you know them, right? But you know what? Pay them and they'll show you the shortcuts. They will get you there. And not everyone likes risk. Not everyone likes to take on debt. Well, in the real estate game, it's something that you must do. No different than how to grow a business. You have to leverage your time in real estate, you have to leverage your money. And if once you understand both of those concepts work at the way to scaling, that, hey, I'm going to own a smaller piece of a bigger deal, you have to understand that. It's no different you have always heard your parents probably talk. It's like, do everything yourself. I'm the best help. I don't need anyone else to help me. No one's going to do it as good as I can. Well, it's not a good way to leverage yourself. And it's not a good way to leverage your money either. It's honestly the most lazy way you can do it. Now, most people would say like, oh, hey, I delegate a lot, right? Like, I'm trying to leverage my time so I can work on the tasks at hand that I want to be working on and that I'm good at working on. I don't want to be stuck editing this reel or editing this podcast. I don't want to be stuck doing different types of things. I'm not very good at it. Plus, other people love doing it and they're very good at it. Guys, that's a little bit about Mac Construction, Mac Capital, but here's a few big updates. So I have an email that I call and Follow the Herd. I put out every Saturday, and it's basically everything I'm working on, everything I help bring value on how you can do this stuff yourself, maybe how you can do it with me, how it can provide you your own financial freedom, hopefully down the road. But it's all my experiences. I'm documenting literally my journey. I think 𝗨Ｈ𝗳cie𝗹𝗹𝗆, which I was talking about, a couple books that I read $100 Million Leads. I listened to it. Haven't got the book yet. And it's very good, right? Like how to generate leads. He literally nerds out on exactly how he's generating leads and how he's not generated leads and how many times you need to really figure out the algorithm to generate leads. So I think if you have not yet, go and find $100 Million Leads. You can listen to it on Audible. That's where I did. You know what? Or you can buy it on Amazon, leave him a review, and do all the 𝗨H𝗳cie𝗹𝗹𝗆 things. But he's very smart. The guy hasn't even been doing it that long. I think he's 33 or 2 or something, or maybe not even. And he literally treats business as a game. And it's literally a board game for him. It's like, that doesn't work, scrap it, let's do this. And obviously very smart. But then I also listened to 10x is better than 2x. And like we were talking about leveraging time and money within like my construction company or Mac Capital, it's basically, you know what, are we trying to grow 10% a year or 20% a year? And how much extra effort we have to put in to make sure that we're growing, right? Like we make all these big plans. And I think by thinking bigger than that, like what happens if Mac Construction, instead of doing 25 million, I had to do 250 million? What do I need to focus on? And you're going to realize that it's an 80-20 rule, right? Parkinson's law, where you need to be focusing on the 20%. Like what if we just stopped, like 2x didn't even matter, like it was life or death, 10x or nothing, you're going to think a lot differently. And you're going to realize that people work a lot harder at 2x. Like, let's just grow it a little bit. Let's just keep grinding on this. Where you actually, if you go 10x mindset, I'm going to grow my social media by 10x. I'm going to grow my construction company, whatever. I'm going to go buy a 10x deal instead of buying a bunch of deals that are just a little bit bigger than my last one. And why I'm telling you these 2 books is just because it's something I'm doing within my companies, and I think it can help everyone. But 10x for 2x, it's a Dan Sullivan book. I don't even know if he was the writer, but Dan Sullivan teamed up with somebody. But 10x is better than 2x. Make sure to check it on your books because it's a good one. And it gets you thinking outside the box if you're an entrepreneur, and it gets you really focused on what matters, what is actually going to cause the biggest effect. And so I believe both of you. So something that I'm doing that's 10x versus 2x is I'm trying to team up with, I'm trying to find a COO basically to grow my development company. And I'm building a model called luxury storage. I was on Ryan Pineda's podcast. We talked about this at length, and I've had like an overwhelming amount of people reach out about this and like, hey, I'm interested in the product. Whether they're interested in the product or they're willing to copy the product, it shows me that there's a lot of interest. And now Ryan has a big reach. So I know this got in front of a bunch of eyeballs. And there was literally a guy from Florida that I met with. He was meeting with Grant Cardone the next day. You know, it's like bigger guys that are in the multifamily game aren't finding, yield on their dollars. And I found a niche in luxury storage. And well, what is luxury storage really? It's basically bigger storage units. They're climate controlled. They might have an outlet in it. They might just have more amenities than say your basic storage unit. And who we're looking at attacking, or like who this product is for, is not necessarily self-storage, right? Like anyone can get one of those. Well, this is basically, we're going to put these next to like near nice housing developments. You'll find that in Ryan's podcast. Make sure to go and, watch that one if you haven't watched that. Just, I think, search in YouTube, luxury storage, or on podcasts, and it'll come up. And we're going to put these near like really nice housing developments, right? Like, because you got to think about the really nice housing developments. What are they? They have strict HOAs and they have strict rules. And guess what? The lots are very small, right? Like you can touch them with each one of your hands. Each house, even if they're $1 million homes, they could be $2 million homes. It just depends where you're located, right? And you can't park in your driveway, and most people like to use their garages as extra living spaces now. They're not necessarily garages like what a garage used to be. Like there are epoxy floors. There's, everything's really nice. I spent all weekend cleaning up my garage. It's like, my wife's like, can we put couches in here? It's like, no, I'm storing my cars in here. And while it is nice and it has TVs and stuff, I use it like a garage. But we also use it if we host, right? Like it's just a great big area. So, this is just happening more and more. When you get these housing developments, with housing being such on like unaffordable factor, you're going to see this housing densify, right? Like why you're seeing multifamily just expand so fast. No one can find affordability, and to find affordability, what do? You get smaller homes, smaller lots, more compact, and they cost more. So people can't afford as much, and people don't want to maintain the exteriors. So guess what? They like the HOAs. They probably don't like that they can't park their camper or their boat or their extra car, in the driveway. But you know what? We're trying to provide a product for that. So that's really what luxury storage is. And we're trying to scale this around the country now, focusing on the Midwest and then kind of heading maybe south and west before we go east. But who knows? I really like some different markets on the east. So it's where we find partners that want to team up and take down these sites. I think that's what we're doing. So what I'm looking for is a COO to help Mac Capital scale. And if you don't know, you got to be pretty much an expert in self-storage. If you're not an expert in self-storage, it's basically on the development side. You got development, and then you got, finding the land, making sure that the land is good, making sure that, hey, is this development feasible? Hey, what is the unit count? How big should this complex be? To make sure that you're getting institutional buyers. Can we raise capital for the project? Do we need to raise capital? How fast can we get the project? How fast can we get it stabilized? How well can we operate this to make sure that we're getting the maximum amount of net operating income from each and every parcel? So, guys, I'm a visionary. I know what we're looking for. I know what I want to do. I know that I have the pieces of the puzzle with the construction piece and the Mac Capital leg. And then also we're doing internal management because there's very little management with storage. So anyway, we have all the pieces of the puzzle put together, but I'm looking for someone to literally operate that arm of it. So doing all the background all the background details, kind of taking it from all the way from land acquisition, all the way to execution, and then operating these deals. I need someone super experienced in development, not only just in one market, but multiple markets, and also very good at growing companies and different things. So if you want to learn how to apply for that, you guys can, right now, the only known application link I have is on my Substack or the Unfollow the Herd email. So you can go on my LinkedIn, make sure you find my email, subscribe. You can find the email that went out Saturday, and it basically has an apply now button, which we will try to, maybe Jen can, Jen's getting it added. We're good. All right. Yeah, we'll get it added to my bio, so that way you can apply now and find it there. And guys, the biggest last leg. So if you're interested in that, like, that's how I'm, 2X versus 10X. That's my mentality here. But I'm also trying to generate leads. So that's why the $100 million leads book was very good from 𝗨𝗨ecie. I think we're trying to make sure we're the best in the storage leads because we want them clicking on our website first. We want them to turn into a renter right away, all these things. And that's why I read those two books over the weekend, and it was very helpful for me to understand, hey, I'm on the right path. I'm no different than when I started Mac Construction. You have to say yes to everything when you start a business, but you want to very quickly start to say no to the things that don't make sense and that are not worth your time, right? I can't do $5,000 patio jobs if I'm going to grow a $25 million company. I just had to start saying no, even though those were my bread and butter. That's how I made money. And I had to start saying no. And then you started like, hey, is a $50,000 concrete job or is a $150,000 general contracting job even worth our time? It's really like time over money. Not really. It's going to take 6 months. It's going to take some time from everybody. It's execution, making sure we can supply it to the customer, things that we have to start saying no on. So very good books. Make sure 10X is greater than 2X, and then $100 million leads. And the last thing here I'm going to leave with you, and if you could help me or share this with somebody, we're going to put a link. Jen again. Jen is going to put a link. Basically, it's to our charity construction Venmo account. And if you know somebody, you can put $5, you can put 10, 20, 100, whatever you feel. This all goes to support the guys in blue. They don't get enough support, and they are on a shortage right now across the country. We lost an officer in Fargo, and we want to just make sure that we can support the guys that, didn't make it through and their families. And this just means a lot to us. And this is our real big charity event. I don't ask for much, but if you got any kind of value from any of our stuff, leave $5 or something and if you can share it with somebody that, is willing to donate, we're going to push all the funds out Thursday. You guys will see that. This will be our best year since our last 5 years of doing these charity events. This will be our very greatest year and have had a lot of good support. We got I think we're up to 160 or I don't know, 150 plus golfers that want to golf, which is more than a tournament full. But you know what? We're going to try and sneak them in there. We're going to try and raise the money that we can. And we're very, very excited about this. And if you guys still want to golf, you want to sponsor something, just hit me up, DM me. We'll figure out a way to make sure we get your name out there. Guys, it is on Thursday, so make sure if you want to get a sign out there that you hit us today or immediately, would be great, because we want to get your name supported out there, and this means this is a big deal to us. Guys, if you can make sure you're subscribed to my podcast as well. If you're hearing this on there, rate it if you could. That helps me a ton. And guys, I will see you next week, and might even do a little follow-up after the golf. So appreciate you guys. Have a good week.